Surely their father could not have in mind any creature of the South Seas that would be stranger or more difficult to capture than these. John Hunt looked at his sons proudly. Roger was still too young and too full of mischief to make a first-rate animal man, but Hal was a steady fellow. He was larger and stronger than his father. Leaving him in charge of an expedition in the Amazon wilds had been a risky experiment, but it had paid off. He could be trusted now with a bigger job. "You know, I promised you a trip to the South Seas if you made a success of the Amazon project. I didn't expect it would come so soon, but I've just had an urgent call from Henry Bassin. You've heard his name." "He made a fortune in steel," remembered Hal. "What does he want with animals?" "He's building a private aquarium on his estate. He says he wants the strangest things from the 7 seas. He has one big pool reserved for... what do you think?" "Sea lions," said Hal contemptuously. "No, a giant octopus." Hal forgot his poise. "Not one of those monsters 30 feet across. How could we ever get it? He's asking the impossible." "But that's not all," went on his father, consulting a pad on which he had penciled his notes. "He wants a tiger shark, a flying gurnard, a grampus, a sea lizard, a dugong, a conger eel, one of those huge clams that are fond of catching divers between their jaws, a manta or sea bat." "Why, they grow big enough to sink a boat," said Hal in dismay. "How a sea centipede," continued Hunt, "a sawfish and a swordfish and a giant squid." "Yes," he added, enjoying the startled expression on Hal's face, "the squid that grows tentacles up to 40 feet long, has suction cups as big as plates, and an eye 15 inches across. The one that has earned for itself the pleasant name of Nightmare of the Pacific." "But how would we ever get such big specimens home?" "You'll charter a schooner with tanks big enough for 2 or 3 such specimens at a time. These can be transferred to freighters and shipped home." "Oh, boy!" Roger began to dance. "We'll sail our own schooner?" "Nothing elaborate," warned his father. "No yacht. Just a fishing boat. You'll fly from here to San Francisco, get a boat there, and take on a crew. Then get to work. Of course, Bassin's job is only part of it. You'll collect other specimens, large and small, that are in demand by public aquariums. Perhaps I'll send you more assignments as you go along. It depends on your performance. You've been wanting to skip a year of school because you're both too young for your classes. That may be a good idea. I'll try to give you more education in a year than you could get in a classroom. There are jobs in Japan, Alaska, Africa waiting to be done. Whether you get to do them depends upon you." He looked wistfully out the window. "I wish I could go with you, but there's too much here to attend to. Besides," he sighed, "I'm afraid I'm getting too old for that sort of rough and tumble." The eagerness of the boys, as contrasted with the weariness of the older man, showed that it was exactly the idea of rough and tumble that appealed to them. "How soon can we get off?" asked Hal. "Just as soon as you can pack and get seats in a plane. By the way, before you leave, drop around to see Professor Stuyvesant. He asked me to let him know next time I send anybody down Pacific Way. He has a project out there that he wants somebody to look in on. Something to do with pearls." Chapter 2. The Danger of Knowing Too Much. "Close the door," said the professor. "We must not be overheard." Hal closed the door and resumed his seat beside Roger at the scientist's desk. Professor Stuyvesant glanced about the room as if he feared that even the walls might have ears. They had, but all the ears were deaf. The famous zoologist was surrounded by friends he could trust not to listen and not to talk. Some were stuffed and some were pickled, but they were all alike in one way. They were all thoroughly dead. Auks, penguins, terns, moonfish, peacockfish, sea bass, tuna,